Now, talking of fun and talking of great nights, well, you can't get better than a night out with this guy. He is called Tom Seals. Now, he has been hailed by Sir Tom Jones as the young little Richard. Now, if that isn't a title, I don't know what that is. Also, Jools Holland has described him as an extraordinary young talent. I am so happy to welcome him to Live in the Hive this evening. Here he is, Mr. Tom Seals.
Oh, what an intro. Hello.
Hello there, Tom. Now, I don't tell any lies though, do I? That is great from
just the young bit. I'm not. When they said that a few years ago, I was young. Now I'm getting the other side of 25. It's not, it's not quite as valid, but I'll still take it. And it could.
That is terrible, Tom. Right, 20 in the 20s, you are living your best life right now. You are still a whippersnapper.
Okay, I'll take that. All right, fine. I don't. That's the problem though. When you see these people 18 that are like, oh, he's good. And he's 18, and then and then it makes me feel old.
Oh, but don't be daft.
I'll take quotes from my hero, Jools Holland, any day.
I mean, that is some quote to get from, like you say, the likes of Jools Holland, Sir Tom Jones. How does that make you feel when people that you have looked up to, give you that stamp of approval?
Well, it's quite funny with Jools, really. He's been my hero forever. I was brought up on the music of big band and swing. My granddad had a 25-piece big band. So every Thursday I'd go to watch the VCO, the Versatile Concert Orchestra, rehearse. They were that versatile, sometimes they even rehearsed on a Tuesday. Little gag, I like that one. Anyway, you'd see, you don't have to laugh. And so at the time, sort of 20-odd years ago, who else was there to go and watch do that big band stuff other than Jools Holland? So I was brought up on big band. I'd go and watch that, all the classic Sinatra, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, all these people. But then I'd go and see Jools, and obviously that was more piano led. Yeah. So that's where my love for boogie woogie piano came. So for years I would go and watch Jools. I'd want to try and meet him and just go and sort of just watch him from afar. And then I got the chance to sit next to him. And this guy is my hero, the reason I play the piano, the reason I play the music that I do. And the first time I came off stage with him, it was after a show called the Jools Holland Boogie Woogie and Blues Spectacular. And I'd just been doing a dueling pianos thing. So I was on one piano, Jools was on the other over there. And the end of the night, he said to me, do you mind if my friend Hugh joins us for a song? And I said, yeah, whatever. You're Jools Holland, you can do what you want. So he said at the end of the show, he says, please welcome to the stage, Hugh Lowry. So Hugh Lowry comes on, and I'm sat here, my hero sat here on my knee, Hugh Lowry, Hollywood superstar, sat here, and we're doing a 6-hand boogie woogie thing. And then after the show, my mum gave me a piece of paper. And I said, what's this? And it was like in a cellophane packet that you used to sort of put your work in at school. And she said, open it. So I opened it out, and this true story. It said, my name is Tom. I am 10 years old. This is my autobiography. When I'm older, my dream is to play the piano with Jools Holland. And she said, I kept it for 15 years because I knew that you would do it. So every time I played with Jools, I was with him a few weeks ago. I'm with him again on Tuesday. Every time I play with him, I tell that story. And I think Jools likes it. Probably it makes him feel a bit old as well, in the same vein that I was just saying. But it's a dream come true every time.
It doesn't get better than that. Having your dream in your puppy days, your early 20s, that's fantastic, Tom. Yeah. Like, have you then been playing the piano all your life then? Did you start off as a young child?
Yeah, it was about 5. Quite a sad story, really. Something sad, but then something good. I remember the first thing what happened was my sister was having singing lessons, and she didn't want to play Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do on the little keyboard, so my mum made me do it. So I used to sit and play it as my sister sang it. And then I got a bit more into it, and then the sad part of this story is that the cat died. So I was very sad, but to make me feel better, they bought me a new piano. So it kind of swings and roundabouts, I guess. But so we lost the cat, but we gained a piano. And luckily, as I'm sure if anyone's watching that have got kids that play, it's hard. It costs a lot of money. It's a lot of time. You have to take them to the lessons. You have to buy them gear. I was gigging in a wine bar when I was 13. I had a residency in a wine bar down the road here in Nantwich, Cheshire. But I wasn't old enough to be there. So every Sunday, my mum had to sit there. She wasn't the end of the world. She got wine and a Sunday dinner and got to read the paper for a few hours. But I was sat there learning my craft at 13 every single week out gigging. So, you know, I know what it's taken from my mum's dedication and money and time to get me to where I am now. And I try and pay her back now with a few nice trips abroad. If I ever get a gig abroad, she comes with me. So
Well, the hard graft has really, really paid off, because you had a sellout tour. Your last tour was sold out. This time you're doing a tour called the 45s tour. You're on down the road from us, which is the Lowry in Salford. Let's take a look at the trailer and see what we can expect, Tom.
Hey guys, I'm so delighted to tell you that this autumn we're heading out on our first ever UK theatre headline show. It's going to be a great evening of blues, boogie-woogie, swing, some classics that you know, and some brand new songs of ours. And I'm going to tell you some behind-the-scenes stories from our brand new Sky TV show. We'll see you there. Here we go! 1, 2, yeah! Let the good times roll! Let the good times roll! Let the good times roll! Come on, let the good times roll! Don't care if you're young or old. Get together, let the good times roll!
Wow. That, God, I wanted to get up and start dancing in the Hive then. That is real boogie woogie. I loved it.
well, it's feel good, and it's quite funny. As I was watching that, we've sort of been doing all the preparations now, ready for this tour, which we start on Sunday, 19th September at the Lowry. And I watched that video, and we obviously filmed that a few months back. And it's quite funny because actually that's a 6-piece band, and at the Lowry we're going to have a 12-piece band. So you know that sounds big. Just watching that, you can imagine how big this sound is that's going to be at the Lowry next week. We've got 5 horns, 3 strings, little string section, big horn section, incredible band. The bass player Roger toured with Shaka Khan. My guitarist Bjorn traveled the world on private jets with Bruno Mars. There's a seriously good band, and I'm so excited to be playing at the Lowry for the first time.
Oh, fabulous. Now, what kind of songs are you going to be, performing on the night?
It's quite funny because sometimes, people come to me and say, oh, we've come to watch you at Ronnie Scott's jazz club, but we don't like jazz, but I like you. And people get afraid by the word jazz. So I always hate to say the word jazz at all because people get a bit scared of it. Now, what I always say is if you like blues, swing, boogie-woogie, pop, soul, jazz, funk, good music, you're going to enjoy a show of mine. There's going to be stuff that from some Ray Charles to Billy Joel to some original material of mine, including the song Kissing in Between the 45s, hence the name The 45s Tour. So there's a lot of material that you'll know, some stuff that we recorded for the TV show that I mentioned in that little trailer then that we've just done on Sky. So yeah, loads of stuff that you'll recognize, a couple of new tunes of mine, and ultimately it's feel good, just incredible musicianship, and I'm really excited to play there.
Oh, it sounds really exciting. We're going to talk about your show that happened on Sky a little bit later on, but not only are you performing, you've got a bit of a Manc icon joining you on stage at the Lowry, haven't you?
Yeah, this is going to be fun. So the whole premise of what I've been working on over the past sort of couple of years, which again we'll talk about later, but it's very guest orientated. It's very taking the music that I like, that jazzy, bluesy, swingy stuff, and incorporating it to other people. So when we looked at the tour, I said, well, we've got to have guests because, it's similar to Jools Holland. You go and see Jools Holland, you're going to get guests. And I really like that. And I think it's exciting to go and watch, even from when I go and see people. I love it when they bring guests out. So I thought, put the feelers out. Who's Manchester? Rowetta, Happy Mondays. Who else was I going to ring? And I am led to believe from some people that what we know Rowetta for you know, the Happy Monday stuff or the sort of the dance stuff. And of course, her vocals have been sampled on some massive hits. Actually, what she really loves and what she sounds incredible at is singing the blues. So I'm really excited to hear her sing that because I've not heard it yet, but I'm told it'll blow people away. And I can't wait to hear it.
I adore Rowetta, and she is a good friend of mine. And one, she's a great laugh. Two, of course, she's the most talented vocalist. I mean, it's just kind of, you melt. It's such a richness to a voice, and the power in that voice. Oh, the two of you together. I hope you're going to be duetting.
We've worked out what songs we're going to do, and there's one of them, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's one of them that I'm desperate to sing with her. And I think if we do it together, it'll be good.
Oh, you are a tease.
Well, normally people just say that when they can't remember what it is, but I actually can remember what it is, and it is going to be good. So
brilliant. Now, you talked then about kind of wanting the show to be a mix of music and chat, and that is something that you've been doing with your own show that was recently on the Sky Channel. Gosh, I mean, that is amazing. It's something that was born out of lockdown that you started off doing on YouTube first, Tom, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's amazing, really. And obviously, I'm not taking away any of the bad stuff that's happened over the last 18 months. We all know the struggles that people have been through. But actually, personally, something incredible came out of this whole period. You know, I never would have had the time. I was doing 120 flights a year for the past 2 years pre-COVID with gigging. I'm so lucky that I've played in over 100 countries, residencies in Las Vegas and on Broadway in New York, and some ridiculously cool things. But I never would have had the time to stop and sit in one place for 3 months and go and make a TV show. And that's what happened. So we come out of COVID. I had an idea of making a show, had no interest at all, to be honest. I had an idea, which we've still not done my idea, because to do my idea, it needs to be big. It needs hundreds of people in the audience, special guests, this, that, which we just haven't been able to do because of the pandemic. So we scaled it down and we said, actually, I've got all my band aboard. They've got nothing to do because there's no work on. This was March last year. My mate's got a production team, a production company with a production van that can live stream broadcast, BBC broadcast quality with 6 cameras.
Wow.
Also bored with nothing to do. So let's make a TV show. Where can we do it? And my mum said, well, I'm about to have my garden done and I'm about to rip all the garden out. So if you want to come in and sort of destroy the garden, that's absolutely fine. So we put a marquee in my mum's garden for 6 weeks. And within that marquee, we put drum risers, tracks for the cameras. We built camera stands on the neighbours, sort of, on the fence panels at the back.
I bet they loved you.
To be honest, I wrote them all a letter and I said, hey guys, it's Tom, it's Mandy's son from number 9. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be making noise from 6 till 6:30 every Monday for 6 weeks. You're welcome to pop your head in and have a look. And every single one came around to tell me how much they enjoyed it. And I couldn't believe that. I thought they'd all hate me, but actually they were all right. Luckily, the musicianship that I brought to my mum's back garden was amazing. So we did 6 episodes, and we called it the Tom Seals Show in Isolation. It was in my mum's back garden, and we were doing similar to what we're doing now, chatting online.
Yeah.
And we did virtual duets with people like Matt Lucas, the comic. Katie Tunstall was in Los Angeles, and we did a virtual duet with her. And it opened so many doors for me, which was just amazing. But I never would have had the time to do it because, it takes time to do this.
Yeah.
And it takes money. I wanted to pay my band, even if it's, look, boys, here's 50 quid each just to say thanks for being here. To do that, to pay everyone, to buy them all pizzas every week, to buy the gazebo, to buy the this, it cost money. And it was money that we didn't have because there was no work. But I really believed in the idea of it. So we did it for 6 weeks. We got 250,000 hits over it. And off the back of that, we got offered a 13-week series of my own show on Sky.
Wow.
But we were still in COVID times. We still couldn't do what I really wanted to do. So we changed tact slightly. And we ended up calling the show Tom Seals Presents. So the idea of this was a bit like Desert Island Discs, where I chat to a celebrity guest about their 3 favourite songs. And then me and my band do our own jazzy, bluesy spin on them. And we had some just some ridiculous guests. Some amazing.
You did. I mean, you had Russell Watson. You've had Anton Du Beke. You've had the Tiger Kings, Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin from Tiger
How
King.
did that happen?
And she rang me the next day and said, Tom, I just love what you do. I'm working on a film for this network. We need some music. And it's, so that came out of it. And then Anton Du Beke said in the interview, Tom, you've played Ronnie Scott's and I'd love to play Ronnie Scott's. And I said, okay, I can make that happen. 2 weeks ago, I was Anton Du Beke's special guest at Ronnie Scott's. And in 3 weeks' time, whenever it is, he's my special guest at my London show. And he's going to come out and sing a few songs with us. And, it's just incredible how one thing leads to another.
Wow.
And it's just crazy how things sort of spiral.
Can I be your +1 if you get to go to Strictly?
I want to play on Strictly, really. Imagine that. How cool would that be?
That would be amazing.
It would be cool, wouldn't it? I'd love. Don't get me wrong. If I'm getting offered freebies to go and see Strictly, I'm there. But if they ask me to sing on Strictly, then we're talking. But of course, you talked about Carol Baskin. I asked these celebrities to pick their 3 favorite songs. No prizes for guessing Carol's favorite song. Eye of the Tiger.
That is just pure genius. It's just what you wanted to say, isn't it?
Yeah. When she did it, I was like, please say Eye of the Tiger. Please say Eye of the Tiger.
Fantastic. Now, have you got a wish list then of anybody out there who you really want to grab in the future? Because it sounds like this show that you've got going is going to become bigger and go from strength to strength, Tom.
Well, what I think there's real scope in it being live. So a few weeks ago, we did the first live Tom Seals Presents with an audience. So people came, we come on and played like 15, 20 minutes at the start. And then I brought on Noddy Holder from Slade, the legendary Noddy Holder.
Love him.
And he's so cool. And all he did for an hour and a half was swear. And there was so many kids. It was a lunchtime show. And I was going, Noddy, family-friendly show here, Nod. And he's telling stories of Ozzy Osbourne. I'm thinking, you can't tell these stories. But that's the amazing thing, that especially live, if you imagine an 8 o'clock show on a Saturday night, you've got Noddy Holden, he's had a few beers, and we get him talking about some stories from, Ozzy Osbourne that he shouldn't be telling. But then we play some incredible music. I think there's a real great entertainment show there. So we're going to take it live. We're going to do a lot more live dates next year on the Tom Seals Presents thing. But in terms of guests, my hero's no longer with us, Ray Charles, so that'll never happen. Billy Joel is one of my heroes. Elton John, I'd love to work with. As much as I work with Jools Holland, I'd love to do this idea with him of finding out his favorite songs and playing them with him. And then
that'd be great, actually. That'd be quite interesting.
Really cool.
Switch.
Yeah, but what also I think is interesting from the show that we've just done is I purposely didn't want just musicians, because if you say to me, Tom, why, what's your favorite stuff? It's maybe 50% of the time, let's say, it's going to be fairly obvious that I like the stuff I play.
Yeah.
Because if I don't go on stage and enjoy it, I'm never going to perform well. So it's obvious that I'm going to like big band or swing or blues or whatever. Whereas, when I was one of the guests, so my point was that I really wanted non-musicians as well to get an insight. So one of the guests was Formula One driver David Coulthard. And I wanted to say, what do you listen to when you're about to go and race at Silverstone? Like, you're about to go and win a Grand Prix. What songs are you listening to? Same question to Diane Abbott, the politician. I said to Diane, you're sat there, not winning a Grand Prix, but I said, you're sat in backstage at the House of Commons. What, do you listen to any music? And she says, yeah, I take my iPod and I listen to Bob Marley. I'm thinking, that's so cool.
Oh, see, no, I'd like her to play Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah, I don't think Diane would be quite up for that, But the funniest thing about Diane was I said to her, Diane, I need you to give me your 3 favourite songs. Of course, she got the numbers wrong and she gave me 7 favourite songs. No, I'm joking.
Bless her. We'll talk songs. And I could talk to you all night, but I have to move on because I've got some other guests coming up. But wow, Tom, you're amazing. We have got a great song from you that is going to play us out at the end of the show. Tell us a bit about it. I know it's called Kissing in Between the 45s, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've wanted to work with this guy called Elliot Kennedy, who's up in Sheffield. He is best mates with Gary Barlow. He wrote Baby When You're Gone for Mel C. Bryan Adams. He wrote Not Could It Be Magic. What was that other one? Oh, I don't know. He wrote one of the big Take That hits.
Craig?
No, it was. Oh, come on, Tom. Think. Not sure. Don't know. But it's one of the big hits that he wrote for Take That. And I've wanted to work with him for a long time, and we've been back and forth. Nothing's ever really happened. Anyway, he came to me with an idea. He said, "I've got this sort of retro Billy Joel style, but sort of modern sounding song, and I think you'd be perfect for it." And it's a song called Kissing in Between the 45s. And the idea is that it's a mum and dad to be. They meet at a house party. And as the records are changing, and there's that sort of like 5-second changeover when the records are stacked on top of each other and they change, they get to know each other and have a little smooch in between. And that's the story. So it's Kissing in Between the 45s.
I love it. I really love it. Well, we will look forward to that at the end of the show, Tom. And if people want to get a ticket, they can book the tickets to come and see you on the 19th at the Lowry. It's going to be a fantastic night. I mean, just talking to you and hearing your music, it's just going to be one of those really feel-good nights. And everyone's going to go out humming your songs. And they probably won't end up going to sleep because of you. It'll be running around in their heads, your music, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. And it'd be great to see, it's people are still feeling maybe a bit apprehensive about getting out there, and that's understandable, but it'll be great. We're going to have a great time. I can't wait. I know the band can't wait. And like you say, feel good music, back in a theatre again. It'd be great to see. It'd be great to see you.
Brilliant. Well, have a good one. And thanks for coming into the Hive.
Thanks so much. See you soon. Next time you can pour me a drink.
I will. I promise. I promise.
All right. See you soon. Take care.